Me and contenders ain't got no relation. So what you in if ain't no reparation? How much you spending on your preparation? I'm about them binges so to win and be the motivation. Determination is intention plus the willpower. Real power, pressure you should feel. Ours bills tower. Over us, I overcome. I'm overcomes. I need direct transactions. Don't wanna wait till you load the funds. You hold the funds and Joseph come promote the Kirk, demote your son. I overthrow the CEO. I'm taking over some. The chosen one, you throw me one, you owe me two. You holding one, I'm holding you accountable. Act like you owe me one. Look, every lesson learned is a lesson taught. Every blessing earned is a blessing caught. Promise I'm meek and humble and grateful for every bit. The head is heavy, so your promise have a heavy fit. The Biggdogg Chico Show. That sports talk. Scope up.
Yes, sir. Let's get ready for the ultimate sports experience, where the action is always intense, the analysis always sharp, and the passion for the game runs deep. Let's kick things off with the biggest dog of all. The big. Oh, now to everybody out there. Oh, now. Checking in this thing live and not really. Y'all know what it is. Get in the like comment section. Y'all know what it is, man. BIWGDOW, Chico to the scene, a place to be, coming to you live and direct, back like vertebrae once again. Haven't done this in a while, but we're going to bring it to you like we've always done before in the past. Shout out to Philip Duke. Shout out to Uncle Neely, my partners in crime, doing our thing. Hopefully you guys are checking out the morning run, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, end of the morning. If you're on the West Coast, if you're on the East Coast or Central Time, it'll be like noon or late morning time for you guys. And also check us out, Uncle Chico live Sunday nights and Thursday nights, myself and Uncle Neely. Then you can find myself producing on You Tell Me, that's Uncle Neely and Philip Dukes, The Scoop. So get in the chat. Let me know where you checking in from, how you checking in. Y'all know how we do it. Put a 09 in the chat if you up in here, you listening with me. This is Biggdogg Chico coming to you live and direct. Biggdogg Chico Sports Talk, should I say, coming to you live and direct. And what we will be discussing today, of course, everybody knows the news that Colorado's defensive line coach is out after a year on Colorado's staff. That is Damian Lewis. He's on the move, where he'll be headed back home to the University of Miami, where he starred and was a first-round pick at, the home of himself and Coach Warren Sapp. Now, Sapp is still on staff, thank goodness, but Coach D. Lou is headed back home to Miami. I don't blame him for that. Nobody blames him for that. We understand the situation, but we also understand the situation that Prime knows what's going to happen before all of us knows that it's happening. And the next move, I'm sure, will be the best move. Now, let's break down what D. Lou brought to Colorado, and then we'll look at what the possibility of the next move could be. Now, I would say this from the eye test, seeing it from afar and up close and personal. As y'all saw, I posted footage of, the D-line practicing and warming up before the game. From my perspective, D. Lou, Coach Dancy, and Coach Warren Sapp out there coaching the defensive linemen, defensive tackles, defensive ends, and edge rushers during the season. I think they did an excellent job with Coach Dancy coming from being the head coach at Mississippi Valley State. Coach Sapp, of course, basically stopping from fishing to come and coach, which we saw him do a couple of little coaching clinics and stuff and stints with NFL teams like the Commanders and such. But he said that the college game really just, the players really just, in their hunger for knowledge, really took him on and brought him into coaching like this. And then you get to pair with a former Miami Hurricane, former defensive tackle in the league, and a guy with coaching experience, that is Damian Lewis, who coached the Seattle Seahawks defensive line right before he came to Colorado. And now he's headed back home, where we think everybody wants to go back home. You see Dancy going back to Mississippi. You see Coach Lou getting the chance to go back to Miami. I think everybody wants an opportunity to coach back in their home area or at a place that they played at, unless they do you dirty in some type of way. Now, D. Lewis He brought an attitude to this defense. He brought a legitimate coach to where these players can look at it and say, okay, he did it. He can teach me how to do it. Not just telling me run off the ball hard, but he can actually show me some techniques in the trenches to improve my ball game. And I think we saw the defensive line who led the Big 12 in sacks this season, how much improved they were with Coach D. Lou, Coach Sapp, and Coach Dancy. We know what he brought. We know that the players that was coming in saw him and said he used to coach Seattle, he used to play, and he did it. He knows how to do it. He could teach me how to do it. Now, moving forward, with him leaving out, and I'm sure I would say this, I think Coach Sapp wants to stay exactly where he is. I think if you watch Wednesdays with Warren, he kind of echoed that. He wants to stay in the position and the capacity that he is right now, currently, and that is senior defensive analyst on that squad where he can help out in multiple different ways. Coach Prime looked to bring on a defensive line coach. I can say this, former player. I'm sure he's looking to bring in a guy who has some type of relationship rapport with his current coaches like Coach Livingston, past coaches that he has a relationship with like Coach Zimmer, also connections with Coach Shermer or whoever else. Coach Prime is looking, and he can go through his vast knowledge of resources that he can call and say, hey, man, who's a D-line coach that I can bring in that can help us right now? Who's a D-line coach that has the same mentality or philosophy that our defensive coordinator has? Who's somebody that has been in the trenches that our defensive coordinator know that he can trust? Who's somebody that the players are going to look at and say, I like him. He's done it before. I can follow and listen to what he's saying. Who's someone who's going to help out with even more recruiting and not just in the areas that we're already deep in recruiting at, i.e. Florida, South, and, anywhere in the South or whatever. I think Colorado is good there. In Louisiana, Georgia, Alabama, Florida, even Texas. I think we're good there. So if we could bring on somebody who has maybe some West Coast ties, maybe some far West Coast ties, maybe some, you know what I mean? Some, like I said, some NFL background, then a little bit of a cultural difference or something. I think it's going to only add to what Coach Prime has already built and continue to build in Colorado. This is going to be a monumental move, I think. I think it's going to go to what a lot of people has been suggesting in different chat forums and things of that nature, saying, hey, man, I think we need more of this. I think we need more of that. I think Coach Prime need to recruit this. Well, I think this next move is going to answer all those questions. We're going to fill and check all of those boxes on that defensive line, and we're not going to do anything but continue to elevate and go up. That's the Colorado Buffaloes and Coach Prime and his staff. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the chat right now. Get in the chat. Let me know where y'all checking in from so I can give some shout outs and such of that nature. But the next defensive line coach for the Buffs, get excited about it. I'm super excited about it. I can't wait till the announcement is made. I need to go ahead and make my graphics for it. But I think just a few little things are being worked out. But I think he wants to come. Coach Prime wants him there. Of course, you got to get the contract and everything worked out. But when that happens, when the news breaks, it's going to be a big time hire. Alabama in the building. Oh, no. Congrats to D-Lou on achievement back home to Miami. Yes, indeed. Washington, D.C. in the building. Oh, now to Sabrina Walters in the chat. Hey, it's great news, man. And the defensive line going to continue to improve. Now, the running backs with Coach Marshall Falk. We talked about this on our shows, previous shows, the Morning Run, Uncle Chico. But Marshall coming to join Coach Prime in Colorado, I think is a huge move. Oh, now Valerie, my cousin Cleveland. Oh, now out of Arlington, Texas. Marshall Falk as the running backs coach with Coach Prime in Colorado. Now, Coach Flea, the former running backs coach, former head coach at Hampton, if I'm not mistaken, also coached with Coach Prime in Jackson State, came along past the running backs coach for the last couple of seasons. He's out of there for whatever reasons, but you bring in a great like Marshall Falk to coach the running backs. We've seen his analysis and everything on the pregame on NFL Network with Coach Prime. We know how knowledgeable he is about the game. Hell, he has to be. He's a college football Hall of Famer out of San Diego State and an NFL Hall of Famer and Super Bowl champion with the greatest show on turf, the Rams. Also, drafted and played with the Colts. But Marshall Faulk in the backfield, Marshall Faulk as your coach, Marshall Faulk recruiting you as a running back. If I'm a top tier running back, dog, I have my eyes set on a big program. I want to go to Alabama, I want to go to a Georgia or something like that, where I'm going to the logo, I'm going to the decal, I'm going to the mystique of the school. Well, if a running backs coach called me with the resume like Marshall Faulk, which he's the only one in college football with a resume like this, with the gold jacket, coach. If he calls me and says he wants me in his room, he wants to coach me, he wants to coach my son, my athlete, my former player, my nephew, anybody who I have as a adult who has watched Marshall Faulk, who knows his character, anybody who I'm influencing and Marshall Faulk calls and offers, dog, how could you not take that? With the head coach being Deion Sanders too? I think Coach Prime just upped the skull, as they say on Twitter. I think he just upped the level of the playing field right now with Marshall Faulk, because these guys, we were seeing the SEC kind of panning out. We're seeing all these schools leveling out to where, it's parity in college football more than probably ever. I think these hires that Coach Prime is bringing, 3 Hall of Famers now on staff, I think it's only going to elevate what he's building in Colorado to where we're going to see in the very near future, probably starting this spring and after when the transfer portal opens again, we're going to see some dominant players come to Colorado from now moving forward in the future, as we should. We should see dominant players come to Colorado and want to play for Coach Prime in the Hall of Famers, because we know the path to the NFL is about not just production, not just what you do on the field, but about relationships. Please understand that. It's about relationships, about who you know, what you know. And not just about what you know, about who you know. I can tell the story all the time about a player I played against my last football game in college. And after I went overseas to play and came back, I saw him at a random restaurant with a cast on and with Pittsburgh Steeler uniform, or what do you call it, sweatsuit on and stuff. I'm like, how you get this Pittsburgh apparel? He said, man, I just came from camp. Came from camp? How you get to camp? I said, man, I knew my agent knew him. My agent knew that person. My agent knew the general manager, and they gave me a chance. That's how it happens. So that's what I'm saying right here is about who you know, what you know, how you know, that it gets you in the league from Colorado, because Coach Prime knows people from his 14 years playing, his 14 plus years in commentary with the NFL Network. Same thing with Marshall. You think they don't know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows something about it? Yes, they do. Air Teeth O now, just here to leave a thumbs up for Biggdogg. Awesome morning run. Gotta go, salutes. I appreciate you just jumping in and hitting that like button for your boy, for the algorithm. Hit the like for the algorithm for your boy. I appreciate you guys joining in. As you know, you can get the best in-depth insights and takes and analysis on the morning run. Myself, Uncle Neely, and Deuce the Scoop once again. But I just think that, man, if any recruit, defensive line, cornerback, running back should be on lock right now. Then you bring Andrew Garrard in on the offensive line, 10-year NFL vet, all-pro, Pro Bowler, Dallas Cowboy, played the center position. And I think just for shout out to Coach Phil Lode, who was a great offensive line coach who played left tackle. I think this is just my theory and my philosophy. I think that a center, or a guy, a former player who was a center, would be better equipped to be a coach than a player who played outside at left tackle. Why do you say that, Chico? Because, in my opinion, I think just like the quarterback is the leader of the offense, linebacker is the leader of the defense, center is the leader, is that secondary leader of the offense behind the quarterback. He's the leader of that offensive line. He's the one calling out the protections and things of that nature, right? He is the leader of the offensive line. He should know what every guy on the offensive line does. A tackle, for instance, really don't know. I wouldn't say they really might not have knowledge of interior offensive line, as they're out there on the island by themselves most of the time. Interior offensive linemen, they're working with at least the two guys next to him, and then you got to also check and help out with the tackles out there. So I think he might be in a better position to lead the offensive line and to be a better long-term stay coach for the Buffs as the offensive line coach. You got Gunnar White there, you got Big George Hageman. Now you bring in Andrew Garrard. I think that's going to be a great mix and a mesh right there that we've seen on that defensive line last season with Dancy, Lewis, and Sapp. I think will be the same type of combination, chemistry, camaraderie, and production on that offensive line with Hageman, Gunnar White, and Andrew Garrard. Hopefully their personalities mesh well. Hopefully they're forging that right now, that bond right now. Hopefully they'll get to a situation where they have this offensive line in tip-top shape, and bring in the type of recruits that can be the offensive line of old from Colorado. Because back in the 90s, when Garrard played and all these other guys played on that offensive line and defensive line, tight end position, shout out to Faurier and Daniel Graham and such like that. All these guys were dogs, man. We get back to that. We bring in some big Usos, some big Tongans, some big Polynesians also on both lines, offense and defense. Now we have all of the pieces together that builds, I think, the best college football teams. You look at Ohio State this past year. Look at the Tulitolos and all the guys who were on their team of Samoan and Polynesian descent. You got to have those mixtures too, man. It's not just all of them. It's not just all black players, all white players. We need all players to come in. With this hire that Coach Prime is bringing in, with the offensive line knowledge that Andrew Garrard has, I think we'll see more Polynesian players come to Colorado, as we see one that came from Ole Miss this past season. He's of Tongan descent. I think there's going to be more to come. And I think that's just the gumbo of winning football nowadays is you got to have all of the cultures in there. And that's meaning that's only saying that because you don't want to exclude anyone, so to speak. You don't want to just be picking from this batch of players when you could be picking from this batch of players, which is a larger selection, so to speak. So now we're going to extend that recruiting even more to California for the big guys coming out of California who usually end up at Oregon, Utah, Washington State, the Alabamas, the Ohio States, the bigger schools on the West Coast, so to speak. Even Fresno State gets some guys who can really play and ball out. So those USC, UCLA, all those teams, Arizona. You see, Arizona has an offensive lineman, Big Jonah, that's going to be selected in the first round in the draft. That should be a Colorado player. I think that's going to change in the next, starting this spring, the next transfer portal that goes around, the next recruiting cycle that goes around. I think that's going to change right then. Also, speaking of recruiting goes, we, as far as Colorado and every other school out there, need to be looking at Montgomery, Alabama, Pike Road, Alabama, and Selma, Alabama. Yes, I'm biased because that's the area that I'm from, but I know that there's plenty of talent down there that's being overlooked. Maybe because of, I don't know, just being in that area or some type of poverty or low or whatever. I don't know, but y'all need to go check out the players that's in Pike Road, Alabama, Montgomery, Alabama, Selma, Alabama, also Southside Selma, Alabama. Southside Selma, Alabama has produced 4 guys who signed this year, 2 going to Auburn, and you have 2 more coming up in the next years, 26 and 27. So shout out to Coach CC, shout out to Coach Moody, and all the guys out there in Southside Selma, Alabama. Derek Smith and his twin brother, Eric Smith, are headed to Auburn right now. Those are top recruits out of Southside Selma, Alabama. And Selma, Alabama High School has some guys also. Shout out to Dallas County. So recruiters, Alabama recruiters, Auburn recruiters, Colorado recruiters, and everybody else in between, go check out those schools real quick. Pike Road produced Judkins, the running back that's going pro now, that played in championship game, college football, for Ohio State. Yes, he's out of Pike Road. And it's more that's been brought up out of there. Oh, now, Maurice, appreciate you checking in. So what's up, big dog? Yes, the morning run was very funny and enjoying with the family. I appreciate you guys. Sabrina, for checking into the morning run. Mama Millhouse, oh, now from Selma, Alabama, checking in once again. Like I said, it's talent down that way, all through that area, because it's something in the water. It's something in the water. All right. Y'all let me know what y'all thinking right now. I just hit the news like I had to hit. Oh, I got to talk about the Lakers. Got to talk about the Lake Show and what they're doing out there in La La Land. Give me some. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the LA Lakers made the trade for, of course, Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis. I think LA is going to be in a great position to win ball games right now. They just added a big Alex Len. You see the guys playing hard on the wing now with Dorius Finney-Smith and also Rui Hachimura. Then the young guy that played this past week, he balled out. I think he had 17 points. So it's going to take those scrappy guys on the Lakers team to ball out. Somebody said, yeah, we got more white players than anybody else in the league now. Now we got Dalton Connect, Luka Doncic, Reeves, Alex Len, Maxi Kleber, and there's one more I'm forgetting now. But we got a bunch of white players on the team. I'm talking about pale white too, but they can ball. Nothing wrong with that. They can ball. So hit me with that.
He ain't lying.
They can. I think the Lakers are going to make some moves. They're number 5 right now, the best record they've had in the last couple of seasons, playing lights out on the offensive side of the ball. It's going to be very hard to beat these guys once Luka really come back into his own and start scoring 30 points a game. LeBron coming off the wing, dunking the ball like hell, like he's 22 years old at 40 years old. The other guys going to have to fit in, play their role, hit open shots when they have a chance to, like Gabe Vincent. AR-15 can just ball out, do his thing, do his best Kobe Bryant impersonation. Lakers will be a problem to deal with in the playoffs. Only person I'm worried about is Joker, but that's everybody in the league that's worried about the Joker. Wow, how can you find all the sound now? I don't know. It happens like that sometimes. It happens like that. We can find the sound now. You feel me? It works now, don't it?
Take the wall, I left the wall.
But until next time, I just want to jump on this thing, talk to my people out there. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Get in the chat right now, what y'all would like to see coming up next, what y'all would like to hear us discuss on the next shows that we have. I already know what it is. We'll be back with more later on. Just had to jump on here and give you guys a Biggdogg Chico show, which I haven't done in a minute. So hit the like, hit the subscribe, run them likes up for your boy one time. And until next time, we're going to be up and about of this thing. Give me one of my theme songs. Which one you want to play? Play this one right here. All right. We out of here. Peace in the Middle East.
And if ain't no reparation, how much you spending on your preparation? I'm about them benches so to win and be the motivation. Determination is intention plus the willpower. Real power, pressure you should feel. Ours bills tower over us. I overcome. I'm overcomes. I need direct transactions. Don't wanna wait till you load the funds. You hold the funds and Joseph come promote the Kirk, demote your son. I overthrow the CEO. I'm taking over some. The chosen one. You throw me one. You owe me two. You holding one. I'm holding you accountable. Act like you owe me one. Look, every lesson learned is a lesson taught. Every blessing earned is a blessing caught. Promise I'm meek and humble and grateful for every bit. The head is heavy, so your promise have a heavy fit. The Biggdogg Chico show. That's sports talk. Scope up.